Okay.
So yeah.
So, do you have any idea about how Salesforce
Yes,
works?
yes, I have everything ideas now. The flows are on the boom, triggers may or may not be there, but I know about. I mean, I know about the Salesforce. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
yeah.
So, guys, let's wait for 2 more minutes.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether I feel that it would be very helpful for others to share this, and I am very happy to share that as an feedback from my end.
Uh-huh.
So today there was an interview at one company called SLR in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So my experience was pretty good, and I was hoping a positive result, but the interviewer kept my call for forwarding. I'm
Mhm.
not sure whether I may receive it or positive note, but this was my little bit of experience which I had today, and
Mhm.
so I would like to share it with other people that may help others, people who may have experience on LWC or development. They are looking for them,
Mhm.
so they can go ahead and they can give a try, or they can, yeah. So yeah, that's my small. I mean, like they can give a try if they are really interested. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, because what you can do is like if you can post what the companies and what the JD are in this
yeah,
line, that would be good so that the fellow members also can track with them, and if, in case you can share their resume to them, so it will be helpful for them too.
yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So, guys, let's start the session. Let me share my screen. So now you all can see my screen, right? Perfect. So in our last class, so on Thursday, I believe, yeah. So I was in a hurry and I don't know whether I delivered uh, the database.query with binding to you guys correctly or not. So let's do a recap on that one. So could you please someone, if someone understand what exactly a query with binding means, so if someone can explain it, it would be good. Or if we can, if or I can recap it again. So anyone would like to try?
Chandan, could you explain it once again?
Yeah, sure.
Because I haven't understood properly.
Sure, I will. So query with binding is nothing but we are merging two methods of querying, which means we are merging static and also we are merging a binding variable, which means, so let me give an example. I know I have given this. So let's take an account is an object, and we have an like search with united, okay, with uh, industry as energy. So on querying this, we get 3 records, right? So if we have this, and let's try using, so these are the things that we have tried so far. So let me explain it from the beginning. I know this is a pretty confusing, but let me explain you that in an better way, right? So let's say we have a static querying. So what exactly static querying means? So we are explicitly saying what the condition is and what need to be queried. So in here, what exactly we are doing? Please stop me if you don't understand. So in here, what exactly we are doing is we are just querying directly, saying the compiler that get me the United, the name like United, and the industry with energy. Okay, so on this one, what exactly the square bracket says? So on the compile time, the square bracket says whatever the string within this brackets need to be treated as query, and that will get executed. So this is a direct way of getting a data. Okay, so what binding means, instead of sending them directly as a variable, so we will directly as a value here, we will declare a variable. So this is what it is. Both performs the same thing. Okay, both perform the same thing, but is a binding. So which means when we compile it, when an query get compiled, which means the string get compiled, these two values will be replaced with this one, which means the variable, the account name and the industry. These two are the variable, right? These two values will get replaced here, and then it get queried. So that is what binding is. So what exactly dynamic is? Dynamic is nothing but, so we declare an SOQL as a string with concatenating it. Okay, then we pass their variables, which means the same value, industry and an account, the same value will get passed here. So how the compiler define whether it needs to be replaced or not? This using a colon. So by using colon, whatever the values that after the colon will be replaced during the compile time. Okay, so what exactly dynamic, how exactly we query dynamic is? We use something called database. The method called database is a system defined method. We use database dot query, pass the whatever the query string that we have defined, and then the mode, access mode, which means by default it will be a user mode. So we can explicitly say whether it should be run as a user mode or a system mode. That's where the dynamic query come in. So in case if you have any doubt, please let us know. Right? You can stop me.
Vivek, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like from the next time, I'll drop my all queries in my chat. But for now, you are using that colon, right, Chandan, like and colon.
Yeah.
But when I use that colon in my Apex class, right now the version is 66. Like when I use that, it is not working. I don't know why. Like I'm using it in a way like equals to and then colon. I'm not using like operator. I'm using equals to and colon. It is not working. Yeah.
Something like this.
Yeah.
So the issue would
Yes,
be
exactly. Yeah.
So the issue would be the way you have declared it. So it's a good question. So when an binding variable is declared, which means within the query, if we have a binding variable, so during the execution time, so the value should be within an method. For example, so if we have all this set in a single method, okay, so the variable, whatever the variable that you have defined, and the query should be placed in a single method, which means execution scope. So which we call it as an execution scope. If this value doesn't exist in an execution scope, so this won't get replaced. That is where the issue would be. So let me show you that. So I'll just make this. Right, we are running this. I'll execute. So we have one log here. When we go here, so you can see here, have set what the account name should be, and what the industry should be, the variable name. And then here on the line 8, you can see here on the line 8, we have a query for replacing it. So what exactly a compiler does is, compiler replace this value or set this value as a temp variable. You can see here. So where exactly it's been replaced? Here. So the temp1 and the temp2. So what exactly, how the sequencings come is, so temporary variable 1 is whatever the first variable that has set here, that will take as a temp1, and this will take as a temp2. Those values get replaced here, which means currently all this variable and the query are in a single scope, which means in the executional scope. So if variable declared outside the method, and then you are replacing and you are using this query method in a different method within the method, at that moment the variable is not in a single scope, it is in different scope. So what exactly you need to do is, at that moment you need to pass this variable as a parameter within the method. Okay, Vikas, did you understand it?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty much clear to me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Chandan, a small doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, just before you show me the database.query, could you explain that?
Which one? This
user
one.
mode. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay. I'll just comment this because it will be confusing. Okay. So now, where exactly database query come in is, so what exactly we are trying to resolve it here is, so like I said in my previous session, so we don't know what the query is. Okay, at that moment we will be constructing the query during the execution time, which means a runtime. For example, so like I said in my previous session, so we have a school, right? So and during the school, in the school, we have multiple classes, which means class 1, grade A, grade B, or else first standard, second standard, third standard. So if it is a first standard, so let's imagine, so I need to query for a first standard. So if it is a first standard student, if I'm getting a student for first standard class, so what are the values, what are the field that I need is, so get me an student name, get me a parent name, and then the his age or something like that. So at that point, we will create that query during the runtime, which means we say select name, comma, parent name, comma, whatever the next field is. So we are constructing the query during the runtime. But when it goes to here, we are defining the query. What exactly we are replacing? It's only these values, which means we are just replacing the filter values. But when it goes to a dynamic query, we can set what the fields that we need to retrieve, and also we can say what the filters are. In the dynamic query, what exactly it means? We can set a dynamic fields, means additional fields, and then the query too. Okay. To make this work on the runtime, we have a system method called database.query. So this is a compile time querying. This is a runtime querying. Okay. So what exactly compile time querying and runtime querying is? So when you compile it, okay. So whenever there is an execution, whenever you define a class or anything, the first step would be a compiling, which means what are the things system reads, what are the things that need to be done. Okay. Then during the runtime, it's execute step by step. So in the compile time, it just says what are the steps that need to be performed. In the runtime, it executes step by step. Okay. So in the compile time, this get fixed in this manner, in this static or unbinding manner. This variable or a query get fixed, we can't edit that one. We can't replace or we can't modify it. So it will be a fixed one. But during the runtime, because we are constructing a query here, during the runtime, we can construct, which means the query can be modified. So the modified query need to be executed, right? So to execute it, we use something called database method, which is a system method. And it has an one more, like using a query. So what exactly is database method, like database.query method does is, so it has a two different way. One is, so two different parameters. Okay, one is which carries only an query. Whatever the query that we define, it's gonna take it and then executes it. So in 67, version 67, API version 67. So the run, whatever the thing that you run within this, right, using a database query. I have not said this one. Let's remove this. So if we just have declare a run like this, so it gonna run in a system mode, in a user mode, which means whoever the person who has logged in, his access, his permission, and his level of sharing rules will be applied. Okay, by default. So whatever the version which is below 66 or 67, that uses system mode. Okay, what exactly system mode is? System mode doesn't check whether the current login user has a permission set or has an sharing rules involved or nothing. So it won't set that one. It will just see OWC permission. That's it. Okay, that's where their system mode and then user mode come in. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have defined what dynamic query is and what static query is. So now we have a way where we need to combine both the things. How exactly we are planning to make that work is, so in here, we are creating a variable. So you can see here, we have one variable here. So, right, yeah, this is a one variable here, and we have a second variable here. This is a third variable. So what exactly rate is? This is a field that we are replacing. The second one is, we have an accounts name and an industry, which is defined here. Right, these values get replaced here. So when an compilation is done, okay, we have spoke about heap memory, right? So during the compilation, so this variable will have an set and memory, and even this variable will get some memory. This variable will get some memory, right? So that will get allocated for each and every one. So we have a multiple allocation of memory. So instead of using multiple variables, so Salesforce has provided a way where we can define everything in a single single variable and use them explicitly. So what exactly they have done is, so they have combined three parameters, which means one is a query. So let's go here. One is a query. The second one is a binding variable, which means what are the fields that need to be modified or what are the fields that need to be replaced. That is set in a second parameter, and then the access type. What mode, whether it's a user mode or it's a system mode, that has been set in a third parameter. So here we are constructing a query. So what exactly we are constructing? We are having a three fields similar to this, and we have an constructor too. Where clause too, which looks same. But what exactly we are trying to replace is, instead of using a string variable, instead of using a different variable, we are using a single variable. So I'll just remove this. We are using a single variable as map. So why are we using map here? So map contains set and a value, right? So we are using string as a set, object as a value. Can anyone please explain me why we are using in this combination. Why can't it be a string or a string, or string or an list or something? So why are we using object here? Any idea on that?
It's object data type, Chandan. I mean, this is S object data type. So
Yeah.
that's the reason.
Yeah, correct. You're right. So we, like I said, we can have a multiple values, right? So let's imagine. So we have in here, we have an account. So this is a string. Second one, we are passing a string. Okay. This data type is a string. The second one is an industry, and we are passing another string. We are storing a string value itself. Let's say I have what to say, created it. So what exactly created it is? It cannot be a string, right? It is an data type was date or a date type. So next what we can have? We can have number type or a Boolean, right? So to have that thing, to store these values, multiple values, we need to set the set the value database has data type has object, which means we don't know what the data type is, but we need to have a way where we can store the value. So that is where the objects come in here. So what exactly object is? So object is an instance where it can store any set of data, whether it is a string, whether it is an integer, whether it's a Boolean, whether it is a string or a double, float, anything, right? So those values will be stored here. That is why we are using string and an object in this map, creation of map. So when we are executing this, so in the database query.binding, when we are executing this, the first parameter will be a query. Whatever the string that we have, that we're gonna pass it here. The second thing is a binding. So this one, what are the fields that need to be replaced? And the third thing is scope. So let's execute this and see how the query looks like and how it will be displayed. So I'll just query this. Okay, waiting. I'll just query this. So it's created a log. We go here. So you can see here on 20, it has created a query. Here 26. So on 26, we have a query. These values get replaced using this binding map. So this has a value, right? So what exactly we are passing? We are passing a binding value, we are passing a query, and we are passing an access level, and that gets replaced here, which means in the line 26, so during the execution, see account name will be replaced with percentage United percentage, and the industry get replaced with energy, and this gets and value. So we have 3 rows, right? Any question on this thing? Perfect.
No, Chandan.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So in the log as well, like I said, we can know, I showed you how we can use this thing. One is, this is an execution pattern. The other one is, even in the log, you can also see number of queries that been involved in this transaction, which means in the runtime, we have only one query which has been executed, right? This is the one query that's been executed. That gets showed up here, which means 1 of 100. So in one transaction, we can have only 100 queries. So in the current execution, we have one query. What are the rows that been executed? It shows up here. So there are 3 rows which are being retrieved out of 50,000, which means in a single transaction, we can have 50,000 records, right? So this is how you need to use a log. And I'll show a better way of using it when we go to an Visual Studio Code. So we can have we can set an external or an extension where the system will give you a brief way or a graphical way of seeing it. What are the sequence are, how the sequence are, and what are the values, the query that been run, how many times it's been run. So everything will be shown up in an if we use that analyzer. It's called an log analyzer in this thing extension for Visual Code. You can try that one, but I'll show in our next session too. So this is where data base and static and then dynamic query used for. This is how it's been used. So far, if you have any doubt, please let me know. So I will clear your doubts. So Kritika, is this good, right?
Yes, Chandan.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So next, let's move on with an DML operation, right? So I know most of them here already use DML operation. So could you please explain me what DML stands for? And what are the things that we use here?
Data manipulation language.
Yep.
DML.
Yep, correct. So what are the operations we do here?
Like insert, update, insert, update, delete operations.
Yeah,
Along
correct.
with, and database dot insert and database dot updates also.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, you're right. So DML stands for database data manipulation language, where in Apex, DML is used for create, modify, delete, restore, which means undelete, or an upsert, which means which performs whether it is a new record, it's going to insert. If it is an existing record, it's going to update using an external ID, right? So I will just explain you how it's exactly used. So do we want this session to cover DML, or can we skip this one? So I want you guys to let me know, because there are two things like Amit or Gaurav said. So one is the insert part, the direct insert part. The other one is using database dot insert or database dot save result. Should we skip this or should we continue learning this? Okay, let's do one thing. I'll just use a few operations and then I'll explain you how database.insert will be used. Okay. So if you want to insert a single data, I know this is a simple one. I'll just do one account insert. ACC is equal to new account, and I'll have let me do one thing. I have an example. Let me copy paste it here instead of typing. So what exactly we are doing? We are creating an account instance and we are passing values, assigning a values. For name, we are assigning Trailgate, and for the industry, we are assigning an technology, and the phone number just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so this is the operation that we'll be using for inserting. Okay, this is a single object or a single record inserting. Okay, when this get inserted, so we get something called ID. So let's do that thing, and we will have a log, debug log, right? And we'll execute this. So on execute of this, so we have, so on the line 1, let me show this. You can see here on the line 1, we have name, that we are passing. We have an industry field and we have a phone number. These are the fields that we are passing, right? So on the line 7, we are creating an insert operation, which means we are inserting an operation. Inserting an operation is insert of type account. Where exactly we have defined this account? In here. So that is what it's showing. So the type is account. The one row has been installed. One row has been inserted, right? So it's kicking for your validations. It's already there, and it checks for duplication. Let's not do this. So let me show you one. So in this, so when we create it, so we have one validation. So in here, which we have created in our admin session, right? So in an admin session, we have created one validation rule. So during an execution, we didn't insert. So we have this validation that's been kicked in. So how exactly the sequence is? You create, and when an insert is done, when an operation is done, first thing is it will have a trigger, then do a validation rule, right? So in the validation rule, these are the things that is being executed. So checking whether a phone number is valid or not. That's what we are doing here. So the next is, so in here on the line 9, we have inserted then ID. Whatever the record that's been executed, that get inserted and it has returned an ID. So we'll use this ID. Let's see how exactly it shows. Just a second. So I'll use this. I'll replace this. Right, this is a small trick that I always use. So I just replace ID here, which means an account / whatever the second one would be an ID. The last second parameter would be an ID. So on replace this, if you reload, this redirects to an exact record. Okay, and I'll show you one other thing. So let's go in here. I'm just showing you a trick. That's it. So we don't have anything here. We'll go case, and there's no open case. Okay. All cases. Yeah, okay. I opened this, right? So you can see here, it says case /500. So just replace it and set it. So you can see here, it's been redirected to account. So this is a small trick. If you know ID and if you want to see a record, so you can use this trick, right? So this is what we have inserted. Then account name, the phone number, and then what the other one was, industry. So in here, so we have inserted this. So we can do this insert in one other way as well. So we can have multiple records at one time, which means we'll create a list. List is a collection that we'll be using to insert multiple records in this example, right? So we'll create a list of account, and I'll have multiple instance, right? So technologies 1, and let's make it as 1. We have 1 year. And I'll have another one. Eight, make it 9, 9. I'll make it as 2. So we will use this collection variable, instance name on the execution, which means what exactly we have done is we are currently inserting two records in a list. We are creating an instance first, then we are adding these values to an instance. Then we are using an instance variable or an collection variable here for the execution to insert the record. So let's do one thing. I'll just create a for loop. So this gives in an for loop manner. Okay. So because we are inserting multiple records, so to get each and every record, so we will use a for loop to check what the values are. Okay. So now on execute of this, so there is an issue where exactly.
Missing semicolon in list. Okay.
This one, right? Oh, in the line 5.
I think bracket is missing of the name.
So the thing is like we are passing like, so it's a list. List should be set as a comma separated, not a colon separated. Right? So we have this and we'll execute it. So we have executed, it's been executed, and we go here. So we have, can see here, we have created a list where it is. So here, so we have created a list instance. So these are the values that we have passed first time. These are the values that we have passing for the second time, right? Then we are inserting two rows for an account. So the operation is insert, the type is account, the third is whatever the number of rows that we have inserted is 2. So same way, it get validation rule will be kicked in. So for the multiple times, and then we have two IDs. One is this 5QAB, and the other one is 6QAB. So these are the two accounts that we have inserted. So like I showed you in my previous log, so what exactly I have showed you? I have showed you number of queries and the number of queried row. In here, we have done one DML statement. You can see it. We had one DML statement out of 150, and we have, what are the number of rows that we have? 2 out of 10,000, which means we have run and the one DML statement, which is an insert, which has 2 rows which have been executed. Okay. So this recommend this to comment this as well. So I do have one question. Can we do like that? Is it the right way of doing it? So what exactly? I just created a for loop. So it will iterate or loops 5 times, right? And inserts account. Is this a right way of doing it? No. What exactly the governor is, DML governor is, we cannot do any DML operation within a loop. Instead, what we need to do is we will create a list variable and then add this whatever the values that we will be creating, right? So where it goes, this one. We'll just copy and set this. So what exactly this does is, so we created a variable, list variable, and we are adding all these single record. Each collection of single record will be set or added to accounts list, and then at the final we will do an insert. This is a best practice of doing it. Okay. So if we execute this, let's imagine we have executed this. So what would be in here? I showed you a logs, right? So what would be the DML method count, statement count, and what would be the DML rows count? So you can see here, in here, we have not passed an phone. This is an exception from validation. Why? Because we have an validation rule saying there should be a phone number which is required. So in this manner, the execution gets failed. So let's do one thing. I'll also pass a phone number. Oh, okay. So now I'll execute this. Where it is. Now I'll execute this. So this has been executed. So what would be the number there? So what would be the, it actually creates 5 records. I can show you that. So in here, so we have a DML statement of 1, which means we have one operation as insert and 3 rows that has been inserted. Sorry, 5 rows that has been inserted. Okay, this is where exactly the DML operations come in. If we are using directly an insert method. So let's imagine. So we have in case. So when we are creating a record or uploading an X number of data. So we have a new org. We are uploading like thousands of accounts. At that moment, so if we are importing all the accounts data, so there are 1,000 records. If one record has a problem, so why the 999 records should be stopped? So if we use this way of doing it, so if we don't have if a single record is missing, if it is, let me show you one thing. I'll add one if statement else okay, if let's take I equals 3. If I gets incremented to 3, I will not pass phone number. So let's see. So do you think it's gonna get executed or not? Will it throw an error or not? So the answer is yes. It throws an error message. So you can see here on the row 2. So you can see on the row 2, which means the third row, which means the third row, we have a phone number missing. So why it's showing us 2 is, so it starts from 0, 1, and 2. So in the third, whatever the third row is, so we have an phone number which is not passed. So this is where the execution come in, the exception come in. So instead of using this, Salesforce provided us something called database.insert. Okay, so let's use that database.insert. Instead of this, I'll use this. So I'll execute. Oh, where is the record? I'll just use this one. So even in here, we have a problem. So what exactly database.insert does is, so by default, if we are not passing any second parameter, it says follow this standard insert method. Okay, which means we need to pass whether it's a true or false. If we set as a false, at that moment, it will create the valid one and exclude the invalid one. Let's see how it exactly does. So I have set a second parameter as false, and I'll execute it. So you can see here, the first one, the second, and the third. Duplicate IDs, okay. I need to make a better way of displaying it. Let's do one thing. I'll just disable the validation rules.
We got the duplicate detector there in debug log. I have seen.
Yeah, that's true. Because we are created it already, right? That
Okay,
is also
okay.
there. So I'll do one thing. I'll just change this to and I'll add these two. I think now it will be a good one. So if we execute this, and if you see this, so where is the ID, duplicate ID, the first row, error. Let me do one thing. It is getting confused. Let me remove that. If I disable it, we can stop multiple logs here. Validation rules. Here. And this.
I also used to do the same thing when I used to practice. I mean, like I used to go and turn off all the validation rules.
Yeah, because the thing is, when we are at the beginning time, right?
Yeah,
so
it's quite annoying.
debugging it would be a tougher.
Yeah.
So so that's why I'm prefer not to confuse you guys using this validation rules, because so we have 5 times we are creating 5 records, right? 5 yeah. So at that moment, each record will get executed. So which means every time the validation rules get executed. So in here we have 3 validation rules. So how many times it gonna log is 5 into 3, 15 times it gonna log, which is ideally a tougher way of to debug it. So let's execute it. And let's execute this. And now we have a little log. Hope so. Yeah. You can see here, this is an account 1, ACC1, this is 2, and account 3. Account 3 don't have a phone number, account 4, account 5, and we don't have any duplicates. Do we have a duplicate here? Again, duplicate detector. No, firehose has been inserted. You can see here, because we have disabled the validation rule there. How can I show this thing? So in here, it's already inserted all firehose without using an validation rule. It needs to be executed. So what exactly I'm trying to do is, so on the 5th one, as we don't have a phone number, it should stop a 3rd one, execute creating a 3rd one. Instead, it should create only 4 records, because I deactivated it. So now we have a different issue. Let me reactivate it. Let me do one thing. I'll not pass anything. This should be a better way. Right. So now I'll execute. So name is mandatory, right? So if we are not passing a name, at that moment, it will show an error. So in here, we have the first time, if we have an account 1, second time we have an account 2, ACC 32. In the third one, we don't have anything. It is blank. Where it is? Yeah, here. The third one is blank. So we have an fourth one, which has ACC 34 and ACC 35. So on create to this, so you can see here, one record retrieved out of 5, one error message, which means, so we have 5 records which has one error message, but remaining 4 has been executed. That's how it is. So you can see here the number of records that have been saved is 4. So what exactly the false does is, in here, if we are passing as a false, so if we have any problem with any one record, so during an execution, DML operation, so those records will be excluded and the valid one will get assigned, which will get created. That is where this second parameter comes in. By default, it will be set to true. If we explicitly say false, at that moment, this type of condition will get kick in, which means if it is a wrong or an improper record, please exclude it and do whatever the insert or an update transaction if it is a right record or a correct record. That is where database dot insert with 2 parameters does. So any question on this? No, right? Perfect. So let's end the session here and we will learn how update delete works. Okay. Then we'll move to governor limits. So any questions so far?
No, Chandan.
Yeah, perfect.